She's a little over 50. She hadn't touched LinkedIn seriously in years, and in 11 weeks, she generated a big chunk of 5 figures in revenue. No viral posts, no algorithm hacks, no posting every single day. And she did it by doing the opposite of what every LinkedIn guru and master teaches. While everyone else obsesses about impressions and followers, she sent 296 DMs while sick with the flu, with zero pitch, zero ask, just 2 words: thank you. And what happened next? That's where this just gets crazy. I have helped over 100 executives, founders, educators, doctors build their personal brands on LinkedIn, and I've seen what works and what doesn't. And what this woman has figured out, it's the highest ROI strategy I think I've ever seen. Now, in the next 12 minutes, I'm about to break down her exact playbook, the 2020 strategy, the list of 100, and the gratitude DM method that generated her 5 figures. But the part that's gonna change how you think about LinkedIn forever, that's gonna come at the end. And trust me, you are going to wanna hear it. Now, her name is Alvette Jones. Let me introduce you to her.
So my name is Alvette Jones. I have been working in transformation, is what I call it, for more than 30 years. And I've done that in a couple of spaces, mostly in large corporations. That's my wheelhouse. I've been very, very blessed and fortunate with some amazing clients. But I was that little kid that just did not like change to not occur. And to tell you a story about me, and I'm probably going to tell you my age too. But when I was a little kid, I actually have a picture of me at 8 years old. And there was a beach in South Carolina that was called Carolina Beach. It was the Black Beach. And so there was a rope that went from the shore to a buoy. And we had our side and other folk had their side. There was a little white girl on her side of the rope and me on my side of the rope. And we were doing what little girls do, hey, waving at each other. And we went to reach and touch each other's hands. My mother came out of nowhere. I didn't know my mama could move that fast. She snatched me like a cat by the nape of my neck. Her mother came out of there and just separated us. And you know how little kids can be profound? I turned around because I really didn't understand what was going on. And I said, I wonder how the water knows which side of the rope to stay on. And I made up my mind right then, I don't like ropes. So roll forward, if I look at the work that I've done in many different ways, that's why I started out saying I'm a transformation person. It's because anything that divides people from their greatest identity is a severe irritant to me. I believe that we're God's greatest creation and that we've been hijacked. And so I'm about the business of restoring people to their original design. Who I work with now, I'm over 12. And so I'm in a generation of women in business that are basically overlooked, dismissed, and ignored. And so my current work, I call Be Your Own Shero. And what I do is I equip high achieving executive women in corporations mostly with the respect, recognition, and rewards they deserve. And the key word is equip. I'm done with empowerment. I love celebrations. I love joy. But I see so many women just crushing it, but still playing small, still with those limiting beliefs, still with the doubts, all the stuff that we know about. So my job is give them the way, the walk, and the words to change that. That's what I do.
Okay, so here's what you need to understand. Alvette didn't start from a place of momentum. She started from the bottom. Contracts she was counting on, signed, sealed, and delivered, they disappeared overnight. The economic environment shifted, and she was frankly angry, frustrated, wondering what the hell she was going to do next. This isn't a story about someone who's had it all figured out. This is a story about someone who had everything fall apart and rebuilt it in 11 weeks. Here's what most people miss. The comeback doesn't start with tactics, it starts with mindset. Watch what she had to say about getting her head right.
And I had to get in there and deal with that. One of my mentors, Audrey Bohannon, taught me it's not the stimulus, it's the response. Life be lifing. It happens. But your response is your place of power. And I had to get myself back in alignment with that belief. So it's like, this has happened, all of it. Now you can either sit here and have a pity party and be mad at everybody, or you can pivot. And what I found, Casey, and I'm going to tell this story and embarrass myself. I had never heard of you. I was on YouTube. You popped up on my feed. I wasn't thinking about LinkedIn as a strategy, but I did the more click and I saw waitlist and I clicked and then, got this magic letter. In terms of wins, you teach us about quality over quantity. I'm not quite at liberty, which I'm sure you understand. But let's just say, we in 11 weeks have generated a whole lot of money.
A whole lot of money.
A whole lot of money. Okay.
Yeah. So Alvette is in this place where things have fallen apart. So she joins brick by brick the cohorts that I run a few times a year. And I ask her one question. I said, if you need to make money by tomorrow, not next month, not next quarter, tomorrow, what would you do? And that question and that conversation changed everything for her, because here's what most people do when they need revenue. They start posting content and just hope someone notices. They tweak their profiles. They wait. They do the safe things. Alvette, she didn't wait. She went straight to the source. And the strategy I gave her, I call it the 20-20-20. Now, I want to break this strategy down for you, because just like it helped Alvette, maybe it will help you as well.
The 20-20-20 is 20 connections, 20 DMs, and 20 comments every day. When I ask you that question, if you need to make money in a hurry, what would you do? That's what you said. But the other thing you said, I was on with you know how you little informational sessions with the groups you're part of right before this. Somebody I deeply respect said, you know, we need to lose the word authentic. And at first I kind of bristled, but as she kept talking, I got it. She said, because it's become hackneyed. It's like when people say, I'm super excited. Well, I'm happy for you, but you ain't super excited about eggs on your plate. Okay, let's get real. It's overused. She said, what we need to talk about is our authentic humanness, because that's what's lost.
All right, so let me break this down, because it's simple, but most people won't actually do it. 20 connections, 20 DMs, 20 comments every single day. Now, I know what y'all are thinking. That sounds like a lot of outreach. That sounds spammy. Here's the difference, though. Alvette wasn't pitching anyone. She wasn't sliding in a DM saying, hey, I noticed you're the VP of marketing. I hope people like you, blah, 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 blah. She was doing something that feels counterintuitive in 2025. She was just connecting, being human, no agenda. But here's where it gets interesting. The 20-20-20 was just the daily habit. The real money came from something else, the list of 100.
I literally made a list of 100, and I started connecting with them, reaching out to them. Mea culpa. No, I ain't talked to you in 10 years, but right now I'm thinking about you. For most of these folks, they were either business relationships built up over years, and I have most everybody's mobile. So I had the frame of the text was, hi, I know you haven't heard from me in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And I make no excuse about it other than I have been negligent. But I'm doing some exciting things that I really would like you to know about. Are you game or something like that for us doing, I call them virtual coffees. And more importantly, I want to know what's new with you and how I might be able to support you at this season of your life. I haven't had anybody say no.
That's awesome.
I don't like to be inaccurate. But I've been averaging 10 of those a week. And I'm taking a bit of a breather after next week. But I've got people booked into 2026.
Did you catch that? She didn't go hunting for strangers. She went back to the people she already knew. Past colleagues, old clients, people she'd worked with for over 30 years but hadn't talked to in 5-10 years. A lot of people don't get this when it comes to sales and business development. You are probably sitting on a gold mine and you don't even know it. You have relationships right now, people that already trust you, already know your work, and you are ignoring them. You're chasing strangers on the internet instead because it feels safer. Like, let's just be honest. Alvette made a list of 100 and she just started reaching out. No fancy funnel, no automation, just, hey, I've been negligent, but I'm thinking about you. Can we do a virtual coffee? And remember those 296 DMs I mentioned at the beginning? We're about to get to that, because this is where the whole strategy just comes together.
When I got the flu, I can hardly think, let alone be creative. I sent out 296 DMs. And I wrote,
what were you saying in these DMs?
I said the same thing to everybody. But it really did come to me as significant. It was basically people who I either liked or commented or whatever. And I said something to the effect of, I see that you recently stopped by my page. I said, and I just want to thank you for taking the time to say hi or to post a comment or let me know that something that I've created was significant to you, because time is currency. So whether it was a minute or 5 minutes I am grateful. And Casey, I meant that from my heart.
Okay, this is the part that blew my mind when she told me. Alvette got sick, full on flu, could barely get out of bed. She missed the brick by brick calls, could barely think. But most people would have said, I'll get back to LinkedIn when I feel better. Not Alvette. She sent 296 DMs while she had the flu. And here's the thing, they weren't pitches. They weren't, hey, let's hop on a call. They weren't anything that you would expect. They were just thank you messages. That's it. Just gratitude. The principle here that separates people who win from people who stay stuck is that you don't have to be better, but you have to be different. In a world where everyone's pitching, just saying thank you makes you unforgettable. And the responses that Alvette got, they prove it.
They started pouring in. Wow, this is unusual. You're welcome. And then people would start sharing little snippets of their stories. But the greatest, I won't even call it joy. All of us are looking for not just validation like, Sally feels, they love me, not that kind of thing. But you're always trying to check, am I hitting the mark? And now the biggest theme when people take the time to DM me back is you bring a different perspective. I love your voice. You are funny. You are a serious truth teller, but you do it in love. That has made me very happy. I'll get better and better. I'm one of those, you keep doing it until you get it right, the 10,000 reps thing. But that really gladdened my heart because that's is the joy. It can be one person. I'd like it to be more, but if it could be one person who said, you made a difference for me today. One lady did say, she said, you have no idea how much I needed this today. And it came from that gratitude deal.
Now, here's where Alvette made a mistake, and I'm sharing this because you're probably going to make the same one. She started getting on these virtual coffee calls with people from her list. The conversations were great, the energy was high, and at the end of the call, people would say, how can I help you? And Alvette sometimes froze. She didn't always have an answer. Now, what the lesson here is that she told me the first 3 calls really threw me. They asked what I needed, and I didn't have an ask. And she said to herself, well, that's not gonna happen again. So she developed a simple framework, 3 things to know before any call. And this is something you can steal right now. Because Alvette is also a person. She came on here to share because she knows there's enough out there for us to all win. So let's steal her strategy too.
Everybody wanted to know how they could help without me asking them. I think the first 3 calls threw me because folk would say, we do our catch up and so forth. These are 30-minute calls for the most part. What do you need? I didn't have an ask. I said, well, that's not going to happen again. And one of my mentors taught me whenever you're in that situation, you need to go in thinking what you want people to know, what you want to learn or discover, and what you want to ask. And sometimes the ask would be, hey, I call it the point system of likes, comments, and DMs. I said it would mean a lot to me. I'm trying to build my community. If you just stop by my post and say something, sure, I can do that. So sometimes the ask was that simple. Then it might be more complex. Then the conversation shifted to, is there a way that we might work together? One ask I had was, would you let me test drive something on you? I have an idea for a particular offering. Would you let me test drive this on you? I called it the triple threat intensive. 1 hour, one issue, big results. And I would just throw out the comment about the concept because these are people that I trust.
Now, let me make sure you caught that framework because it is gold. I had to write that one down myself. Before any call, know 3 things. 1, what do you want them to know? What are you working on that they should be aware of? Number 2, what do you want to learn? What can you discover from them? And number 3, what's your ask? And it doesn't have to be something big. Sometimes the ask was just go engage with my posts. Or sometimes it's, would you test this offering for me? Sometimes it's, can you connect me with somebody? Remember, the problem isn't that people don't want to help you. They do. Alvette said everyone asked how they could help her. The problem is you're not giving them any way to help. Know, learn, ask, use it. Now, I need to address something real because some of you watching this, especially women, especially Black women, have a hard time with this stuff. Asking for help, taking up space, reaching out when you haven't talked to somebody in years. There's a voice in your head that says, I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to be annoying. And I asked Alvette about this because she's clearly crushing it right now. But was she always this bold? And her answer low-key stopped me in my tracks.
I realized that this is going to sound harsh, so I'm going to mitigate it. That level of unwillingness to try I is the ultimate form of egoism. That was the harsh part. And I understand that, especially for Black women, it comes from trauma, drama that is real, that we have experienced, that famous word, my lived experience. That's a fancy way of saying I've been through something. But what I realized, and the tribe and you and other people that have mentored me and guided me, if you really believe that what you have has value, it's so selfish to not come out of your comfort zone, because that one, in my case, it's women. I know many people serve different folk.
Yep.
That you might be the one that she's been waiting for. And yes, it doesn't feel good to have people say, I have a very dear friend. I love her. She's the only person, when I told her the concept, and when I say that phrase, the way, the walk, and the words to get the respect, recognition, and reward you deserve, everybody goes, I like that. Except her. She said, I have no idea what that means. So it's like, okay, put you on the other list. You're still my friend.
Yeah.
But you really have to believe in what you do.
You might be the one she's been waiting for. I told you at the beginning, there was something at the end that would change how you think about LinkedIn. And this is it. You're not bothering people by reaching out. You're not being pushy by making an ask. You're not being salesy by sharing exactly what you do. You might be the exact person someone needs right now. And if you stay invisible because you're scared, you're robbing them of that. Alvette sent gratitude DMs while sick with the flu. She reached out to people she hadn't talked to in a decade, and she showed up with a simple ask framework. 11 weeks got her 5 figures, got her booked into 2026, not from going viral, but from going human. So here is your challenge. Before you click off this video, I want you to do one thing. I need you to open your phone right now, open your notes app, and go write down 10 names, just 10. People you haven't talked to in a while, old colleagues, past clients, people who already know you're good at what you do. Then this week, not next week, this week, I want you to reach out to 3 of them. Not with the pitch, just the, hey, I've been thinking about you, what's new, I'd love to catch up. That's it. That's the whole strategy. And look, if you want to go deeper, if you want the full system with community and accountability, like I said, we run these brick by brick cohorts a few times a year with amazing people like Alvette. If you want to get on the wait list for one of those cohorts, the link is in the description. But honestly, you do not need a program to start. You just need to reach out. 296 DMs while sick, just to say thank you. What's your excuse? I'll see you in the next one.
I have learned so much from you, not just about LinkedIn, because what I have seen in you is what intensity, generosity, and genuine caring, when you put them all together, because you ain't no joke, okay? That is the truth. But I have not seen, maybe there are other people, I have not seen that very unique convergence in one person. And what that has done for me is you've given me a vision of how I want to show up for the people that I hope to serve when I'm building cohorts and group sessions. And I just needed to publicly say thank you. You can cut that part out, but I wanted you to know that I'm grateful. I am.